Hi guys, it's Lara. Thank you so much for watching and welcome to Vlogmas day 7, if I'm not mistaken. So today we're gonna be making Snickerdoodles. These are definitely one of my favorite cookies, and I know these are not necessarily Christmas cookies, but they smell wonderful like cinnamon, and whenever I bake them, the whole house smells like cinnamon. And for me personally, this scent is something that kind of belongs to Christmas. So if you want to know how I make my vegan Snickerdoodles, then please keep watching. Here we have all the Snickerdoodles ingredients, 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour. In this bowl I have 1 cup of white and 1 cup of brown sugar. Here we have 1 cup of vegan butter, 50-gram applesauce, 1/4 cup white sugar with about 2 tablespoons of cinnamon, and here we have 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and 1 vanilla sugar. As always, I mixed the dry ingredients first. Hercules was of course assisting me. Once everything was thoroughly mixed, I added the applesauce and the vegan butter. I warmed it up a little bit so that it would melt, because then it was easier to mix it with the other ingredients. First, I tried to combine all ingredients as good as possible with the vegan butter. And once it was mixed well together, I started kneading the dough. I mixed the 1/4 cup of white sugar with the 2 tablespoons of cinnamon in a smaller bowl. And then I always took a teaspoon-sized amount of the dough. I formed it into a bowl. Then I dipped it into the sugar-cinnamon mix, and then I simply placed it on the baking sheet. Hercules was all the time checking if the quality was alright. While I was forming the balls, I already preheated the oven to 180 degrees Celsius, which is 356 degrees Fahrenheit. I put the cookies in the oven and baked them for 11 minutes. However, the amount of cookies you see here in the pan was definitely too much. Once the cookies started to melt, they were basically stuck together. You see what I mean? There's basically no space between them. Now, therefore, I definitely recommend placing only about 20 balls on the baking sheet at a time. Here I placed only about 20 cookies on the baking sheet, and it was perfect. After the 11 minutes were over, I took the cookies out of the oven and I immediately placed them with the baking sheet on a metal wire rack and let them cool off. The cookies deflate a little bit when they start cooling off, and this batch was baked with the heat coming from the top and from the bottom, no hot air. I find that they were a little bit more chewy than the other version. These were baked with the hot air function. They have little cracks in them, they look cute, they look also a little bit puffier, but they also deflated later, even though they deflated a little bit less, but they were not as chewy as the ones that were baked without the hot air function. Optically, yes, I find that the cookies where I use the hot air function look a little bit prettier, which is, by the way, the cookie on the left side, than the cookies that I baked without the hot air function, which is the right cookie. But as I said, when I didn't use the hot air function, they stayed a little bit more moist and they were a little bit more chewy, so that's what I personally recommend. Now, for this fresh batch that I have here right now, I have used chia seeds with a little bit of water instead of the applesauce, and both versions worked fine. So you can also use a flax egg. You can experiment with these 3 possibilities, and you will see what works the best for you. Now, I have to experiment a bit in future with different types of vegan butter, because I feel like they always deflate a little bit too much. I would like them to be a bit puffier, because I think they would be a little bit more chewy, but other than that, they are wonderful. They taste so great. So if you try this recipe, then let me know how you like them. Now that is it for today. I hope that you guys are enjoying Vlogmas so far and that you ended up liking today's episode. As usual, if that was the case, don't forget to give the video a thumb up. I listed down below a few videos and playlists that might be interesting, and I have also linked down below the entire playlist Vlogmas, because then it's maybe easier for you to kind of come back if you don't always have time to watch my Vlogmas episodes every day. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys so much and see you all tomorrow. Bye!